This is MFG Out Loud. Courageous conversations about sales and marketing for today's manufacturers. With your hosts, Ray Zaganto and Allison DeFore.
I always say marketing happens from the inside out. And so wouldn't you agree that, I mean, I can feel it when you're describing it every time we've talked, that camaraderie, that teamwork, that enthusiasm and passion, and, you know, that shows, it like radiates outward. And I think that's part of the compound effect as well. Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, that's actually a really good take on that. Or new facet is that, it's people love Orbitform, and so we get the absolute best from folks, and they want to do well. And one of our main values, our main purpose is to ever improving results and security for our company, for our employees and our customers and stuff. And the security has two things for the employees. One is that we work hard to have revenue in the building, in that security, and then also the idea that you're secure, you're safe, you're safe, you're appreciated, and you have a career. So we have some wild things in place for people all the way down to the lowest job at Orbitform. That person has a career plan that we're looking at every 120 days. The guy,
awesome.
he's talking to me, he has tears in his eyes, and he says, 45-year-old man, he says, nobody ever really cared about my career.
Oh,
This is the first time. So it's just good stuff.
What's coming through is that, as Allison had mentioned, that thing that's coming through to your customers and to your employees. To me, that manifests itself in alignment. It means that you didn't create a bunch of collateral just to see if you could trick somebody into doing business with you. It's like you really not risked it, but you've put yourself out there, and it's like you may not be everybody's cup of tea, but for those that are in your tribe, it'd be a great place to either do business with or to go work, do some, go work for. And when you mention your employees, love Orbitform, I think it's because you love them back. It's just like with the customers. There's a reciprocity, a genuineness going back and forth, and that really comes through. So if for those listening, that special sauce is you can put in all the processes, but you got to mean it. If you mean it, it'll work.
Yeah, you see a lot of people that talk about it, and then at the first sign of some toughness or whatever, all of a sudden, and that's why we have our values. We make, by our values, we make hiring, firing, and promotion decisions based on our values. And that's what's in EOS is the people analyzer is your values, and then you have the get it, on it, capable. So we have all of that for our folks, and it's just good stuff, right? It's just good stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned EOS. I would love it if you could share your flashcard test for training salespeople, because I think it's pretty cool.
So I'll back up just a little bit and just say that sales, and if there's salespeople that are listening to this, sales is the only profession that day one, you're 95 to 98% thrown in the game, and 2% training. And so we looked to have our EOS, Gino Wickman traction book. It's a, management system to overarching management system. But our sales meeting, we kind of crunched the EOS stuff down into out of the first 90 minutes, we kind of crunched that down into the EOS stuff. And then the rest of it is training. And so we almost call it Orbitform University Sales Training because there's 15 people in sales, 14 people in sales. So for the Flashcards, we're a technical company. And we have a lot of young people. So we have kind of the old guard and the young guard that's coming up. And it takes years to learn all the technical stuff and to be a trusted advisor. And so we looked at ways to try to accelerate that. And what we came up with, and is simple, and it's almost infantile, but it's so effective, is by product line. So we have 6 overarching products that we have. By product, we have our, flashcards, and has the technical information on it, and so that people can speak it, they can talk it and understand it. So what they have to do is they set up in front of the room. When we were meeting in a room, now it's by Zoom. But the rest of the team gets to ask application questions, technical application questions. And so, those are, pardon us, but those are sphincter tightening moments, and everybody wants to, do well. And and they do. And we've had people that when we first started this, they said, well, I've been here a year and I learned more in the 48 hours prior to this process than what I had in the last year about our technical product. The other things we do is scrimmages, sales scrimmages. So there's a customer and then there's an Orbitformer. And they set up in front of the room and it's ring, ring, the customer answers the phone, and then a dialogue. Early on in the process, it was about, can we get a meeting? And then it's evolved into talking about an application on the phone. It's involved about negotiations. So everybody goes through it, and then we get, so that lasts about 4 to 6 minutes, and then everybody gets to do a round robin and critique. So 2 things happen. One is that the critiquers get to see this firsthand, and they say, oh, that was a good tactic, and they learn just by that process. And the other thing is the people that have, that are in the barrel at that time, they up their game as far as being able to, because it's not as simple as it seems. It's, you're in front of your peers, you want to, and there's a little bit of ad-libbing and stuff, but there is, a coaching moments abound in that process. So we've been doing it for a year and a half, and, our folks, we got a lot invested. And people that weren't, started out in the process that weren't very technical are very technical right now. And they're able to talk the talk.
That's awesome. You talked a bit how you had to pivot some of those in-person meetings to Zoom, like all of us have these days. How did aside from that, you got to ask the question in the current environment: how did you guys cope with the pivot for COVID?
Yeah.
How have you managed that? Because customer contact is so important. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, so when you have highly motivated people, wild horses can't keep them away from what they need to do. So we had 50 people in the front office in 48 hours. When we made the decision that we were going to work remotely, we had all 50 people working from home. So that was the one thing.
Whoa.
And there was some consternation that week and all that good stuff. But probably by week 2, we were getting 50 virtual meetings with customers, or phone conferences where it was on their schedule and it was on our schedule to call you at this time and have a phone conference. So it wasn't a warm call or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was our definition. And so now you look at that and, for 60 to 90 days, 120 days, that's what we did. And it's been just a steady drumbeat. People want it,
Awesome.
when you do the preparatory work and, forge ahead and have that, people do want to talk to us. So I'll have to say, other than people, okay, so just think about a manufacturer that doesn't have a sales engine. They don't have the processes and that sort of stuff. Totally brought to their knees in this process. Their salespeople don't know what to do. Even if, typically what, the SINA in manufacturing sales is the folks that do milk runs. And, they go out and they see the same guys and have the same coffee and donuts and stuff like that. And then they swing in and stuff like that. So, they just don't have an answer. And so, although our intake has been rough because everybody's been nervous, everybody's worried about what it is. We have quite a pipeline that when it does break, we're going to be just fine. So all the way through this whole process, we've found applications that we normally wouldn't have found, So now we're starting to go back out. We're being pulled out. So that I think Carrie,
that's awesome.
Canary in the coal mine is that people are starting to come back at it. So that's how we.
That's awesome. The fact that you lost, so you really didn't lose any time. I mean, it was 48 hours. Everybody was out, and then it was okay. What's Plan B? There was no sitting back, and waiting for back to normal. It's like, let's deal with now, So
we actually
that's awesome.
We had a lot of people that were working way more than what they did in the office, and we had to do some coaching that you got to shut it off, and you can't. You can't work. Just because you have the access to it, you can't work 18-hour days, 16-hour days, 12-hour days. We don't want you to do that.
Yeah. Did you have any resistance from anybody in terms of going digital, or was everybody just like, whatever you want us to do, we're going to figure it out and we're going to do it?
Yeah, zero resistance. I just can't think of, our folks in the shop, 65 people in the shop that worked all the way through it. We had one person that wanted to take the layoff, but we had 64 people that said, basically tell us what you need us to do. And we were safe. I mean, I put about 200 hours as a senior leadership team, and this isn't all just about me. This is the senior leadership team of Orbitform. It's just miraculous. And so we put about 200 man hours into building our safe work behavior, safe workplace playbook. And, we reviewed 12 to 24 other people's plans, all the way from the 3-page document to the Big Three's 600-page document. We ended up right around 19 pages. But just think about it. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to sit there and say people were frightened. There was a segment of the population that they don't care. They think it's pandemic, all that kind of stuff. Then there's about this 20 to 30% that are really, really worried and stuff. And when we say that our purpose is security, that really, shook me to my fiber, because I said, okay, these are people that need, and including ourselves, we needed to have the safe behavior, safe workplace. But we put it out to like, okay, so you get sick at work. What are you supposed to do? And we told everybody, go to your car and call us. Pack your stuff up, get out of the building, go to your car. Everybody can remember that.
Right.
As opposed to this big labyrinth process that you have to go through. And then, you can't drive to the hospital. Do we need to call an ambulance? And we just walk through everything. So now I'm sick at home at night. What should I do? Boom. we walk through the process with them so that they can do that. And everybody has the document. We do refreshers on it and stuff like that. And so, that because we care and love for our employees, period.
Well,
Huge.
I love it. So much here. Can you guys believe that we're at the end of our time?
Oh boy.
With Phil, the magic man. So I want to know how many golden gumballs fell out of that machine in just a little less than an hour. Quite a bit.
Well, can I make one more point that's really cool? Because we acquire businesses. So we've acquired a couple more businesses that were running offsite in their normal place and that sort of stuff. And these strategies transfer. The one company had both companies had zero sales outbound and stuff. And, one company, we bought it and we started with it's just a small company. It had a $4.5 million budget to try to hit and stuff. We started off flat-footed, only at $350,000 worth of backlog. We started out the next year 2, with a $2 million backlog. These strategies work. And, we're doing the same with the one we just closed on 9 weeks ago. And so we think that our culture transfers and our sales and marketing strategies and knowledge and tactics transfer. It's the number one thing small businesses need to do. You'd have the best product in the world. If you don't have sales and marketing, what do you have? And then people try to go to sell those companies and they don't have a sales machine at the head end of it. And they think that it's worth a lot of money, and it's not, but it's what you can do with it. So
scalable and portable.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Leverage is up.
Oh.
All right, I'll stop.
We're sad. We have to wrap up.
So nice talking to you.
You're a wealth of knowledge, my friend. A wealth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
if for all of you listening, if you're not already subscribed to this podcast, please do that. You could do that at Apple Podcasts, or we're on, I think, 8 different platforms for your listening pleasure. And if you would be so kind and you find value in this podcast, leave a 5-star review. As I always say, it's not for our ego, but it's to let other people know that this is a podcast worth listening to. So we appreciate that. And check out any other episodes on our YouTube channel or on mfgoutloud.com. And thank you so much, Phil, for being an amazing guest. I learned so much. Ray, you have brain burn?
Oh, man. Yeah, this was awesome. No, I've got serious disappointment. We should talk for another hour. So, this was amazing. This was great.
So good. I hope that manufacturers listening, that somebody can take a couple nuggets and help them.
Well, you're doing it. That's half the battle. If you can point to somebody that's actually getting it done, then it's no longer impossible, right? So that is awesome. Phil, thanks so much. Allison, are we wrapping up?
Wrap us up and take us out, Ray.
Here we go. Phil, again, thanks so much. What a journey you're on. Thanks for sharing it with us today. For all of our listeners out there, we are so glad you joined us. Thanks for listening, and please keep manufacturing out loud, because we need you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to MFG Out Loud with Ray Zaganto and Allison DeFore. You can subscribe and find show notes at mfgoutloud.com.